Hey everybody, welcome to Inside the Box Trench Talk. Again, I'm your host, Josh Richardson. I'm the owner of Velocity Athlete Development. I'm here talking with athletes and coaches from across the United States about one thing we all love, and that's football. Super excited about our show today. I have with us Ryan G and Kail Ellis from the Auburn Tigers. Super excited to have you guys. Thanks for joining us today.
Sure. Glad to be here.
No doubt, guys. So, listen, first of all, I know you guys just got out of a workout. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk with me today. Hopefully, none of you guys catch a cramp through this process. If you need to step away and grab some water or an IV, I can understand that. But listen, let's just jump into it, man. So, we all have this long term relationship. I've been very fortunate enough to work with you guys and have a close relationship with your families over the years. So, it means the world to me that you guys come and join us and talk with us today. The biggest thing that I want out of this is for you to be able to share your story, but hopefully inspire and share with the kids that are in school today at the high school levels, kind of your experience and what you've been through and what it took to get you to where you are today. So I'm just going to kick it off. So Ryan, I'm going to start with you if you don't mind. Ryan, a huge success and a superstar while you were at Milton here in Georgia. A couple two-time, maybe three-time state champion while you were at Milton. I mean, for that it's an incredible program that you played with a lot of incredible athletes. Maybe you can share with us, when did you get your first offer and who was that with? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I remember it was my freshman year. I got Indiana was my first offer, and that meant a lot to me because that's where my mom went to school. So that was a tie that I had, and that it meant a lot going to Milton, learning from Coach Reeves, Coach Stromey, Coach Jackson, just great coaches know what they're talking about. So it definitely got me prepared for the next level. But yeah, we did. We won 2 state championships, and I'm very grateful for that. That's always a memory in the back of my brain.
Amen. No doubt, man. Hey, shout out to Indiana. I'm a Fort Wayne, Indiana boy myself. So, that had to be exciting, getting a Big Ten offer for your first offer. I mean, let me ask you this. When it was time to make a decision on where you wanted to go, did you have like a criteria? What were the things that were important to you and maybe even your parents? Did you guys sit down and discuss this on what was going to be the criteria to make that decision on where you go?
Definitely. We had I would say we had a list of a criteria. It's definitely proximity to home, like being close to home was big for me. The education, just so because football is going to end eventually for everybody. So having that degree and being able to use that in the workforce, then how the school uses that tight end in the offense, whether that's pass catching, the personnel options they have, the routes they choose to run on their guys, and obviously the relationship I have with my coach. And obviously, Coach Ben, he recruited me at Liberty, so that it was easy when he got to Auburn. It was almost an automatic decision to come here and play ball.
No doubt. I mean, those are great reasons to be able to choose the school that you're attending. Maybe I'll jump over to you, Kail, now. So, Kail Ellis, former superstar for Cass High School here in Georgia as well. I've known Kail and his family for several years, worked with you and your brother, Caden, since middle school, and couldn't be more proud of you as well. Maybe you can share with us as well when it was time to make that decision that you were going to go play for the Auburn Tigers. What was the one thing that stood out more than anything else that said, this is it, this is home, this is where I want to be?
Yeah. I mean, I was blessed to start my recruitment process after my freshman season. And, it took me a little bit to kind of build up that momentum to get some of those Power 4 offers. And Auburn stuck out to me because Coach Thornton came and saw me that spring. And, we had some good talks. I never had talked to him before. And just being able to build that relationship in the recruiting process as we got into the football season, I went to 3 games that season of my sophomore year. And I was really big on relationships. And my dad, he's big on the people, and I would say that was big. Proximity to home too. I'm really close to my family, so I want to keep that. I don't want to be 12 hours away or something like that. So I'll say that was a big factor, and also just the how I can grow as a person. They people say all the time, Auburn men or stay Auburn men. So I think that was huge, and then just the opportunity to come here and learn from a guy like Connor Lew, who's going to play in the NFL for a long time, and just being able to learn from him and having an amazing coach like Coach Thornton to continue to build me as a football player in person. So I think that was huge for me.
Of course, no doubt. I love that you mentioned Jake Thornton, Coach Thornton there at Auburn. I've been fortunate enough to been able to follow his success from Tennessee Tech to Gardner-Webb, over to Ole Miss, now over to Auburn. And the one thing that he definitely does an amazing job of developing talent. You mentioned Connor Lew, you got Jeremiah Wright. I can go on with some of the talent that you guys have this year. Maybe you can quickly speak about that relationship with Connor Lew, seeing that you're also a center, and you're learning from someone like Connor that's in front of you that potentially could leave for the draft next year.
Yeah, I think it's just, again, it's just been huge having him and being able to go to him and ask questions. I think I annoy him sometimes because I'm asking so many questions. But in the meeting room, I'm sitting right next to him, like I'm tapping him, asking more questions on this. At the same time, he pushes me super hard and making sure I can, because he knows how good I can be. And I push the same thing. I push him too. I'm not just sitting back and chilling. Like I'm making sure I'm on him too, because I want him to be at the best of his ability. And I just feel like that's been huge. And everybody in the room, we're, like you said, O-line's a very tight knit position, and we have it's a great room. I stepped in and being able to them like just accepting me in there in the room and being able to create that relationships. It's been awesome.
Awesome. I love hearing that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit, but let's hop back over to you, Ryan. I mean, this is a unique situation for both of you guys coming into Auburn. I think you guys both had a little bit of a different path, and it's really interesting both ways. So, Ryan, you graduated early out of Milton, early in December of your senior year, and you were early enrollee in early January at Auburn. Maybe you can give me and the audience a little bit of kind of understanding of what that was like, and you coming in as a freshman on the back half of that year and getting thrown right into it.
100%. So basically, anybody that doesn't know, to graduate early, you have to take high school classes throughout the summer, going at like years prior, freshman, sophomore, junior year, so you can get to that course, or you get the credits they need to graduate. So I did graduate after our state championship. We had about 2 weeks until I had to report. So I rested my body, obviously started getting on that workout plan that they sent over. And I when we got here, we had workouts that almost like first week I got here. So it got thrown right in the fire. That's kind of one thing that I'm very grateful that happened, where I kind of got thrown in there. I had to figure it out. It's either I sunk or I swam. So I'm very grateful for that. But it was a great opportunity for me to come here early, and I'm very grateful that I did it.
All right, so just going back in my memory banks of when I played around that time, late winter, early spring, they had something that was called mat drills, right? And I'm sure most people that are following along has heard of that term as well. Tell me a little bit about your experience going into mat drills for the first time, if you guys had something like that at Auburn, and what that was like.
Essentially, yeah, we had a whole plan throughout the week that Coach Dom said. We had 2 like speed days where we were working on our form, hitting those top speeds that we needed to get to. And we had 2 days where it was like our conditioning day, which was our team run day, where we'd have a bunch of like sled stuff. It was basically just pushing through mentally, knowing that you can push your limits and get to what you needed to get to. And then we had competition Friday, where we'd have a competition. We were put into accountability teams where we would earn points throughout, whether that's going and get extra treatment, you would get points for that. And you would have a competition. We had a competition, I want to say, where we had a dead hang, and you would just put a bunch of chains on. You would just have to dead hang so you could hold along. We had a few, like a relay race. We had a bunch of things like that, which was essentially our mat drills, but it definitely got us ready to go for the season.
I'm convinced someone is sitting up at night just thinking of crazy things that really push your limits on a physical standpoint to really push you mentally. That's what I remember about mat drills. So you make it through that, you're one of the boys. That's how I always looked at it. So that's good feedback. I love you sharing that. Kail, you had a unique situation as well, a little different, journey, if you will, in far as how you entered school at Auburn. You reclassified up. You had just finished your junior season of football, and made that decision that you were going to reclassify up and enter into the college ranks early. Maybe you can share a little bit about that mindset and what your thought process was, maybe something that you went over with your parents and the coaches, and how that all come to be.
Yeah, I mean, coming into high school, that was never a thought in my mind. I obviously wanted to play college football, but I came in, and as a freshman, I wanted to win the starting job. That was my main goal. But you know, the Auburn they mentioned it, like Coach Thornton and the coaches mentioned it to me, and I just was like, you know, I sat down with my parents and I was like, let's weigh out the pros and the cons of this. Like, and there was way more pros than cons. And I just felt like, again, we talked about Connor going in under him early and getting an extra year of development a year early. And we were just like, let's do it. And the Auburn did helped us out a ton with setting it up and academically and being able to get in the summertime. And it was, I think it was the best thing that for me, again, I'm blessed and yeah.
Yeah, I love that answer. I'll tell you, to make that kind of decision, think of just the level of maturity that it takes. I know what I was like when I was a junior in high school to make those kind of decisions and again, have to leave the family and move into a situation where I'm working with men that have been playing ball 4 or 5 years more than I have, that have been in the gym that much more. I mean, that's a very mental challenge for someone as young as you are. Maybe you can speak to, where do you feel like you got your mental strength? Did it come from your time at Cass? Was it inbred from your mom and dad as you were growing up and the relationships you have with your brother Caden and your sister? Maybe you can share a little bit about where do you think that mental strength came from, where you feel like you were confident enough to make that transition early?
Yeah, well, first off, my dad, my whole life, me and my brother wanting to play sports, he was always instilling discipline onto us as early as I can remember, so he's always been really, really hard on us, and that's definitely helped. And then I had a great experience at Cass. A lot of credit to Coach Gates and my O-line coach there at Cass. But I'm not gonna be biased, but I would say y'all helped me a ton with the process and getting in with you and learning more stuff about the game, getting in with Coach Luke with the strength aspect, doing college prep. I think that was the best thing for me because getting to college, those college prep lifts and conditioning really prepared me for going in there and hitting full head of steam. And also just with the getting in there early and going in there super young, I prepared myself mentally to hit it full head of steam, like not trying to get in my feelings about, well, my family is away from me. Like, that sucked, but just being able to get in there and work my tail off and improve that I can, compete at a younger age. I think that was a good thing. Just let myself know that and give myself some confidence.
I love it. I love it. Good deal. Ryan, let's hop back to you. So as you move into Auburn, there's some things that sometimes we get blindsided by that we just weren't prepared for or we didn't anticipate, good or bad. I mean, it can go both ways. Is there anything that sticks out when you made that transition from your time at Milton and now you're at Auburn playing in the SEC that stands out there like, wow, I didn't anticipate that, whether good or bad?
Definitely. There was a lot of things. I say, obviously, football, the workouts, the lifts were hard, but just getting in that recovery, that training room, just getting your body right. I feel like that's something that I definitely learned a lot about when I got to college. At Milton, I didn't want to say I just didn't recover my body because I definitely did, but I definitely take it so much more serious now because you're having to block guys that are, like you said, 3-4 years playing in this league. So it's a lot different, but also the academic portion with a bunch of tutors, strategists help you plan out your week. Just undoing that, it's a big help in that way also.
I love hearing that. So and I was going to ask Kail about that, but I'm going to stay with you because you brought it up. It's interesting when you make that transition, a lot of people just don't understand the resources that are available to you. You guys are working like 2 full-time jobs between football and going to school. And the school provides resources, whether it's academics, outside of just the physical that you get out of football. Maybe you could speak to what that looks like. Do you have study hall that you're responsible to going to? Do you have tutors? What do they do to help you kind of manage, your educational side of this move or this change?
100%. I feel like the biggest thing that a lot of people don't understand, especially with me coming early, is they thought I was just coming here to play football. Like when I got here, I got put in a whole 16 credit hours of college class, so I had to get locked into that. But they do a great job. We have student tutors that will come in to help you understand, people that have taken that class that you need help with before. And maybe they have the same professors you, so they know how the tests are going to be or how it's going to be. And then they have strategists that your freshman year, you meet with 1 to 2 times a week, just based off how your grades and how you are taking care of your assignments. And they kind of map out your week, and they'll go out and you're like, oh, you have 3 assignments here on Monday. Let's get those banged out this weekend before you get here. You're going to play a game on Saturday. You're that off day on Sunday. You're not going to want to do those assignments. So you're going to get those knocked out. So I feel like they do a great job of planning that out. They also make sure you're on top of your assignments, you don't miss anything, which neither one of us have. So
that's good. Yeah, you got to take advantage of those resources. Again, it's, the expectation of your time commitments to everything you guys have to do is overwhelming for most people. I would tell you, if you had these conversations with them, and the resources that they provide you, I'm glad that you guys are taking advantage of it. It's going to help you through your college career. Kail, let me move over to you, buddy. Obviously coming in during the summertime, you had mentioned you'd spent the last 4 or 5 months with us at Velocity through college prep and preparing for it. What does that integration or transition look like, and what did it look like for you coming in early June and having to integrate into the summer workouts and then the school schedule? And hey, let's just figure out how to get around campus, right? What's a great restaurant where we could go to and get a taco? I mean, what does that look like for you?
Coming in the summertime, I definitely, obviously I would want to early enroll, but that's just not how my story went. And so going in, I didn't want to let that affect me too. So I came in again, hit it full head of steam. And the coaches here at Auburn, the Coach Dom and his strength staff, with our summer workouts, we started, we started lighter for the new guys, like introduction, and then we kept building as the summer went on. So that definitely helped too with my transition. And I mean, coming to a town, I just turned 17. So like coming to Auburn, I had to learn a lot of new stuff living on my own, which credit to Ryan. He helped me out a lot with him being here a semester before me. I can ask him questions about stuff, and that really helped. But yeah, I was just saying, being able to just take it all in and coming in the summer, and just being able to, not having school helps a lot too, because you get to really focus in on football. So I would just say, just staying in the film room was huge in the summertime. Also, our coaches did a great job doing install by install, so they weren't loading us with everything, which that helped a lot too. So yeah, I would just say being able to soak it all in, and don't be afraid to ask questions. That was a huge thing for me. Don't be afraid to ask questions from older guys. Watch film with them. I think that was huge for me too.
Of course. And I think you've done an amazing job. Again, I said we were going to talk about it a little bit later, but why we're here right now, talk about integrating into a group as special as the offensive line. I'm a little biased, all right? So I'm going to say that, right? But you're integrating into this group that may have been together for some time, or even into this world of portal days now, you might have some new guys that are coming in, right? So how's that connection been able to happen for you? And I'm going to share a little bit. I know it's been pretty darn successful. You had come up over the summer with many of the other offensive linemen and trained out of the gym, come up with, Connor Liu, and you came up with Mason, Big Murph, and all these guys have come up with you to work out. You can see that relationship's already strengthening and growing. Maybe you can share a little bit more about how that's happened so fast.
Yeah, I'm going to be biased. I think we have the best offensive line in the country this year, and we're so talented. But they're great players, but they're also great human beings. Like every single one of them. There's not one person in the room, and Ryan can probably attest to it too. They're welcoming, they're awesome people. So I just think that was really, really big, because not every room's like that. Sometimes you have some jerks when you get into college that are just so high on themselves, getting all this praise, but they're all down to earth and really, really great people. But yeah, I would just say that's been a huge testament, just being able to ask them, because we've got guys that have started for 30 plus games in our line, multiple that have started for 30 plus games. Tutal Miller, Dylan Wade, Mason Murphy has played a ton of football, Xavier Chaplin, Connor Liu, Jeremiah Wright. Just those are 6 guys that have played major college football, and just being able to being an outlet for me, being able to ask them questions and learn from them, and them being accepting too. That was huge.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. Again, a little biased, right? I just think offense linemen are kind of cut from the same cloth. I really do. As far as welcoming and helping you integrate and looking for you to have as much success as they've had, right? And you can see that they wouldn't have done that if they didn't have someone do that for them. It's just an ongoing cycle, and it's cool to hear that that's happening for you down there. Ryan, maybe you could share with me a little bit off script here, but as far as like now we're transitioning from summer into season, right? We just played Baylor. Congratulations on the win. How exciting was that? Maybe you can share with us, what does your week look like now? I mean, we're in the fall semester. We've got school starting. You're going down to Baylor, Texas to play Baylor this past week. Pulled out the win again. I got to say that. Maybe you can share with us a little bit about what your week was like leading up to that Baylor game.
Definitely. We played on a Friday, so our prep started that Sunday. Came in there, we got a good practice in, padded practice. Just got because we have time constraints during the week because we're a morning practice team, so we have that early class as well. So we came in, knocked that out on Sunday. So then we came in, we prepped all the way through the week, and then we ended up traveling out on Thursday. We landed in Waco. Had a few hours to ourselves, and we came down there. We knocked out like a team meeting, special forces, and then we went into position. And we went back to our rooms that night. Woke up the next morning. It was game day. It's something we've been working so hard for, especially for me since that January window. It feels like it's taken a long time, but it's here. And then we had our pregame stuff. We had our walkthroughs outside the hotel. Then we went over there. Our first Tiger walk was cool. A lot of Auburn fans showed up, which was very impressive. And then we went in the stadium, got our team devotion in on the field, and then it was time to go. So
that's awesome. I'll tell you, it was so much fun to watch you guys, see you guys on the sideline suited up for it. Maybe you can help me. How do you control that excitement? I mean, I'm sitting here almost 50 years old, and I can think back to the first time I suited up and I was on the sidelines for the first time. And man, I probably had to hit the bathroom a couple of times thinking I was going to be sick. So, I mean, how do you control that excitement? To your point, you were there since January. You're putting in all this work, all this time leading up to your first college football game. Regardless if you think or you're getting into the game, there's this level of, I'm ready to go to war. I mean, how do you control that? What did that feel like for you?
For sure. Coach Freeze mentioned a few times on game day because we were up around like 9-10 o'clock just to make sure we don't get amped up too early. We don't have to get ourselves worked up super early for that game. So I felt like when we got to the stadium, it was different. Obviously, a road game. We're in somebody else's house. It was different. So going in there, we got it done, and it was great win, great atmosphere. I felt like Baylor brought it. They had a sneaky good environment. So.
I'll tell you what, and again, going back to my bias, I mean, you guys ran the ball all over them. It was so exciting. I wanted to wear my hat that just said run the damn ball because you guys were just owning that field that day. So hopefully more to come with that for sure. Kail, let me ask you this. You are just coming out of high school ball as well. You have to prepare for high school football games. You get into this type of routine based on your coaching staff and how they want you to prepare. Maybe you can share, what does it look like now you're at Auburn? What is your kind of responsibilities in preparing for this game? Are they giving you kind of a script or, hey, you need to do this on Monday, do this on Tuesday, film on Wednesday. You're helping the senior guys on this. What's that week look like in preparing for a game?
Yeah, we started looking at Baylor. I mean, obviously we talked about him in the summer, but we started preparing for him the week before. So we got really 2 weeks of preparation on him, and I think that was really huge. Just being able to get our player cut ups in and being able to study those guys. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we have our game plan and all that, but at the end of the day, it's the people you're playing against. So being able to study them, that's huge. And Coach Thornton, he puts a lot on the centers. And just being able to, be a natural leader out there and being able to just take control of the offensive line and being able to make sure everybody's on the same page. Because, I mean, Connor can attest to it, but even in practice, you're out there, you have the ball in your hand, everybody's looking at you, asking you what to do. So being able to take control and just preparing your mind during practice for that, I just feel like that's huge.
Awesome. Good deal. Maybe you can share the same. Ryan, you got a feel of, what was the difference when you're with Ben Reeves at Milton, which if you ask me, and again, a little biased, my son played for Milton as well. I think doing a phenomenal job of preparing kids for what college football is like, not just from a level of physicality, but how you prepare mentally, how you prepare through watching film. Maybe you can share, do you see some differences, or is there a lot of similarities that helped you in making that jump to the next level?
There's definitely a lot of similarities, but there are some differences. I know going into the Bear Week, we had a certain amount of plays. We were trying to, we had a call sheet going into the week, and obviously going against the defense, those changed a little bit going against the scout team. But we had a solid game plan, and we knew what plays were going to work. We knew what we needed to do and how to execute that. So I feel like just knowing the whole play sheet, knowing what Coach Freese could call out of any personnel, 11, 12, and we did have some 13 out there. So just knowing all those spots, knowing what we need to do. So I feel like that was the main thing for me, just getting the call sheet down. And obviously, like Kail was saying, knowing their personnel and how they like to play. If they're gonna be a kind of a extension shade type of guy, or he's gonna try to run through your face. So kind of just knowing how that is for them, and gonna continue that going into these weeks coming up.
I get excited when I see 12 and 13 personnel. You know what's coming if we got that set up. So, all right, guys, listen, I've kept you long enough, but there's one other question that I got to ask, because I think a lot of young athletes fail to prepare for this or even think about this before they move on to the college level. I can tell you from my experience, it was really tough. And just like me, I know you guys have a very close knit relationship with your family. And it's a very impressive relationship. Ryan, your relationship with your brother Landon back here at Milton, and your sister so close, and your mom or your dad Thomas, your mom. I mean, you guys are all so close. And Kail, same with you. Your relationship with Caden and your sister. How is that transition for you into college, being 17, 18 years old and away from those people that you've lived your whole life with, that you've kind of leaned on, that you counted on, that they had your back, you had their back, and they're not next to you every day? How's that been for you guys in making that transition?
For me,
Fine, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
For me, it was tough because obviously Landon going into high school, I wanted to be there for him for his first game, and it was on a national stage show. I was very grateful to be able to watch that on ESPN, but I obviously wanted to be there. It sucks not being there, helping him through his process. And then for my sister, it was actually her birthday this past weekend, so it did suck. Yeah, it did suck not being there. It's the first time I haven't been there for one of their birthdays, so that did suck. And obviously not being there with my parents, me having to talk it up with them every night, so that does suck. But I feel like they do a great job. We do a great job communicating throughout the week. I talk to them every day, whether that's my mom, my dad, brother, sister. I talk to them. I feel like they know that they can text me. I can call them whenever they need, and I'll be able to pick up the phone and help them with whatever they need. So I feel like it's definitely hard for athletes being here, leaving their family, especially real hard for Kail, but I'll let him talk about that.
Yeah. Kail, go ahead, buddy. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I've been close to my family. Me, especially my siblings, been through a lot, having our parents divorced and stuff at a younger age. So being able to bond with them, and we grew super close during that. And Caden being a D lineman, we always had that competitive spirit. So it was tough leaving him by. He early enrolled in January, so being at home, not with him for however long, 5 months, was tough. I'm not gonna lie, because we were just so close. But I would just say being able to talk about our experiences and being able to compare, and helping each other out with stuff. And I think that's been huge, being able to talk to him, because he's not free all the time. App State, him at App State, he's not free to talk all the time. So being able to take advantage of us talking is huge. And then with my sister, her starting her sophomore year of high school, she's got volleyball going on right now, hectic, doing stuff every day. So not getting to talk to her that much, but just being able to. I saw her this weekend when they came for Baylor, so that was nice. And then just my parents, my dad being down in Florida, my mom up in Georgia, just being able to talk to them every day, because they want to talk to me more than I want my free time sometimes, but my mom was like, call your mom, don't forget to call your mom. My dad would just randomly call me, so that's always nice being able to talk to them. So.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I mean, family is important. And your family, I know, supports you and loves you and cares about you guys. And, the cool thing is that, and I don't want to get all, sentimental here, but you guys have each other too. The relationship that you guys had, knowing each other coming up before you went to Auburn, and you have someone to lean on. And then just the fact that being a part of a football team creates this family-like environment in itself, that you have others to lean on because they're going through the same thing that you guys are going through as well, right? And never would I ever compare football to the Army or military in general, but I don't know another organization like football other than the military, right? And what you guys go through and how much work you put in, the blood, sweat, tears, the emotions, the highs, the lows, all of that. Nobody really recognizes what that's like if you haven't played this game. And the only one, like I said, would probably be the military that's close to us. But you guys are doing fantastic. I couldn't be more proud of you guys and what you guys are doing. You have a lot of football ahead of you guys. You'll always have the support of us here back in Canton, Georgia at Velocity, Coach Luke, myself, the rest of the team. But listen, guys, we're going to be watching. We're going to be cheering for you. Be safe. Who do you guys got this week? It's Ball State, right?
I'll
Yes,
say,
sir.
Making a trip. It's in Auburn, right?
6:30 Central kickoff. So another night game. So that'll be fun.
There it is. Well, good luck to you both. Hope to see you guys on the field. And again, thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, guys.